Can anyone, when will anyone challenge Clemson in the ACC? MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, breaking down the game we love each and every day. Please like, comment, share the videos, and subscribe. And if you are coming across us for the first time or have only seen a video or two, don't subscribe yet. Check out the videos. This is what we do, is cover college football for you, the hardcore smart fan. All right. Clemson's dominant in the ACC, certainly. They are probably the best program in the country, maybe the best team in the country this year. They certainly were in 2018. We will see in the next few days whether they can slay LSU like they did Ohio State. But it's a great program in a horrible conference. There is no second tier. There's really no third tier. So Alabama, LSU, Georgia, in some order. I'm not talking about just specifically this year, but overall. And then you've got your Texas A&Ms, Auburn, Florida, so forth and so on. We can go through all the conferences, and we've got that. We've got Ohio State rules the Big Ten. Michigan, Wisconsin are really good. Penn State's really good. Even Minnesota and Iowa, really good football teams this year, and Iowa year to year. We can go through all the conferences and see the hierarchy. Where's the hierarchy in the ACC? It's Clemson, and it goes off a cliff to like the 30th, 35th best teams in the country. And who is the second, third, fourth best teams in the ACC? Well, for a while this year, we thought it might be Wake Forest. Then it was Louisville for a while. Maybe at the beginning of the year, some people would have said Miami should be playing in the ACC championship game against Clemson. Virginia obviously emerged, and then they couldn't come within 45 points of Clemson. So the ACC is a mess. Florida State was obviously the last team to stand toe-to-toe with Clemson. They were actually the program and the team that Clemson took the ACC from. Florida State was Clemson in 2013 and 14. Won a national championship, got back to a National College Football Playoff as ACC champion, undefeated, conference champion, and then they switched places, and it transitioned power from Florida State to Clemson in 2015 and 2016. Florida State was still competitive and right there with them, but Clemson took it from them, and now they wrestled it away, and Florida State's not even close. So the programs that are most equipped and best equipped to get back to that level and challenge Clemson would, of course, be number one's Florida State, for obvious reasons. Where they're located, resources, name brand, facilities, everything in play. Miami would be number two. But as we've seen over the last few years, there have been other teams that have been better than those two schools, like Virginia, like Syracuse the year before, like Wake Forest and Dave Clawson and what he's doing there at Wake Forest again. But they couldn't come within 52-3 of Clemson. So here's a wild card selection. Headed up by a national championship coach, a program that won 5 games over the previous 2 years, but is recruiting on a level with the second tier of the ACC below Clemson, but recruiting now with the likes of Florida State, Miami, with, again, a national championship coach, a team that improved considerably, that has a potentially great quarterback who set all sorts of freshman records, playmakers on the outside, and again, a new vibe, a new energy, and suddenly a chic place for recruits to check out. It's the Baby Blue of North Carolina. They finished up a 7-6 campaign with a demolishing of Temple, 55-13 in their bowl game. Was that the Military Bowl? Yes, I watched all of it, or at least I started to watch it, thinking it would be a decent game. North Carolina was only a 5-point favorite, but they annihilated Temple. Is that important? Well, they'd played all one-score games this year. And of course, as part of the narrative here, they were the one team that could challenge Clemson in its first 13 games, taking Clemson down to a 1-point game and a 2-point conversion in the final minute. Yes, it's only one game, and is North Carolina that close to Clemson? Of course not. But they did show that they were capable one time of getting that close. The only team in the ACC that could come anywhere close to Clemson this year. All right. Sam Howell is the franchise quarterback, and what a year he had. He can throw the deep ball as well as just about anyone in the country. He's got the arm, the NFL talent in his right arm, and he can move. He's mobile. He knows what he's doing downfield. Red zone was an issue with this kid and with the entire offense. But with increased experience and reps in the system, and with another year under their belts together, expect North Carolina to be better offensively in the red zone. That's going to be addressed during the offseason. Sam Howell set a freshman touchdown record with 38, only 7 interceptions. Threw for 3,640 yards, 60% completion percentage. Ran for 53 yards against Temple. If you watch that game, time after time after time, he converted third downs into first downs with his legs. So he's a dual-threat quarterback that has an NFL arm and a cannon. And from week one, game one, in a big matchup against South Carolina that was supposed to be the better team, was a double-digit favorite. Sam Howell came through in the clutch. Didn't play a great game start to finish, was inconsistent, but considering his first start, he came through in the clutch, and then he did time and time again throughout the season. Mack Brown is serious about this job. He's serious about winning. This is his last go-around. Many of us looked at this hiring much like we did Herm Edwards at Arizona State. Old guy, detached. What's he going to do? Well, he went from 2 wins to 7 with a bowl victory and was competitive in every game. They could have easily won the ACC Coastal Division. And again, they have a franchise quarterback, and Mack Brown knew enough when he took the job to tell all of his coaching staff, that is the kid we need. Let's focus all our attention on getting him and prying him away from Florida State. And that's what they accomplished. And they've got their quarterback for the next 2 years. All right, they lose their left tackle, all ACC performer Charlie Heck this year. But they've got most of the offense coming back. And if you watched North Carolina this year, it was fun to watch their playmakers at running back and wide receiver. De'Ami Brown's a really good player. The sophomore, 51 catches, 12 touchdowns this year, over 1,000 yards. Bo Corrales made acrobatic catch after acrobatic catch as a junior. 40 catches, 585 through the air. Daz Newsome, those 3 receivers outside of Clemson, probably the best group of wide receivers in the ACC. Daz Newsome caught 72 balls for 10 touchdowns as a junior for over 1,000 yards. So they didn't have to throw to the tight end, but Garrett Walston is coming back after catching 9 passes. The offensive line, despite losing Heck, brings back 3 sophomores and a starting freshman. So the other 4 starting offensive linemen are back, as should be most likely, and we don't know about defections to the NFL draft quite yet. Michael Carter just nudged over 1,000 yards with his 84 in the bowl game against Temple, and Javonte Williams with just under 1,000 yards at 933 and 8 touchdowns. So they're loaded on offense, and they've got young experience on offense. It's very exciting to see North Carolina building under Mack Brown. All right, let's go to the defense. They lose 4 on the 2-deep chart. Jason Strobridge is most likely going to declare for the NFL. He blocked a PAT in the bowl game. Aaron Crawford, 8 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. He's gone. Also, Miles Dorn, the cornerback, who was 3rd on the team in total tackles, and also their 4th leading tackler, Dominic Ross. Well, let's not worry about those guys that are gone. How about all the talent that's back, including most likely, again, NFL considerations here, inside linebacker Chaz Surratt, who turned out to be the best player on the defense. Redshirt junior, tremendous player. Obviously, his brother plays at wide receiver for Wake Forest and is their best player on offense. Jeremiah Gamel had 79 tackles and 7 tackles for loss. He was tremendous as well. Storm Duck, we saw him with a pick 6 in the bowl game against Temple. He was a highly recruited player and came through this season as a freshman with 32 tackles and 5 passes defensed. DJ Ford, nickelback, had 54 tackles, and he also had 2.5 tackles for loss. Really good player. Toman Fox, their best defensive lineman, at least from a production standpoint, getting into the opposing backfield. Toman Fox is back. 8.5 tackles for loss and 5.5 sacks. The place kicker, Noah Ruggles. He comes back after a nice season in which he hit on 19 of 27, just a sophomore, so he should get more consistent. Let's look at the recruiting class coming in 2020. It's third rated in the ACC, number 19 in the country. So North Carolina not recruiting, again, at the Clemson standard, but very competitive with the best teams in the ACC outside of Clemson, South Carolina. The last three recruiting classes under Mack Brown and also Larry Fedora, numbers 30, 20, and 29 in the nation, numbers 5, 4, and 5 going back to 2017 in the ACC. Interesting non-conference schedule for North Carolina. UCF on the road to open, and then Auburn in Atlanta. Those are the non-conference games of note. And then also, of course, North Carolina plays in the Coastal, so they've got all those teams in the Coastal, and they clearly can play with everybody in the Coastal. There are no scary teams in the Coastal. And then their rotation calls for Boston College out of the Atlantic in 2020. And, of course, they play rival North Carolina State, who is down this year and probably will be next year. Carolina beat them 41-10. My look at North Carolina football, it's a bit of a wild card reach here, but out of the Coastal Division, who could possibly in a one-game scenario challenge Clemson in 2020? I think this is your team. Let's look at North Carolina and the rest of the ACC Coastal as we get through the off season, of course, here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Like, comment, share the videos, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.